Hi everyone, and thank you for joining us. You're listening to the BiG podcast in partnership with Design and Build UK's Women in Construction Awards. This season we are celebrating women in trade. I'm Leila Gunter, and coming up in this Equality in Trade podcast, we're going to be talking to Amy Beale, a gas engineer who initially began her working life as a coach driver, aka long distance donkey, and then retrained with British Gas as an adult and worked with them for 11 years before moving on to Gloucester City Homes, where she currently works. Her route into the industry was a little later in life after she was told by a teacher she wouldn't make it as a physio in school. She admits this contributed to her going through a rebellious stage at school, which resulted in her applying for an adult apprenticeship with British Gas later on in life. Amy talks about why she thinks there's a lack of women in trade and discusses her positive experience in the gas servicing world, despite being one of the very few females. But first, don't forget to give us a like and subscribe on your favourite podcast platform. And if you want to contact us to find out what else we've been up to, you can follow us on our socials. Amy, can you just tell us a little bit more about what you do?
So I'm a gas engineer for a Gloucester-based housing association. We mainly undertake gas servicing of boilers, and generally look after the central heating systems, radiators, immersions, cylinders, everything.
So can you just tell me a little bit about kind of how you ended up getting into like the plumbing industry and kind of what your route was?
I went to school as normal, got my GCSEs, sort of pulled out of college. I think I went in to do a BTEC sports module. It wasn't really working out. I felt like I wanted to be at work rather than at college. So I went to work for the local coach company, and I don't know if you can remember the nickname, Long Distance Donkey.
Yeah.
And ended up doing that until I was in my 20s. Couldn't really afford to rent a house or anything. Just felt like I needed to do something a bit more worthwhile. I suppose my only options, only having GCSEs, was to try and find an adult apprenticeship. I applied for any job anywhere. It didn't matter whether it was electrician. It was, as long as it was a trade job, I applied for it. Managed to get lucky with British Gas, and they took me on. Did a apprenticeship with them in Northampton, and the rest is history, really. That was back in 2007, and I stayed there for 11 years and moved on to a local housing association now.
And so, like, when you were at school, did you ever imagine that you wanted to work in a trade? Because obviously you signed up to do PE, sports, rather. Yeah. So did you ever imagine back then that you wanted to work in trade, or?
No, I actually wanted to be a physiotherapist, but one of my teachers said that I wouldn't amount to that. So I think that kind of pushed me on a sort of tangent, really, to, I don't know, I kind of went up in a rebellious stage then and just felt like I wouldn't be anything. That teacher had put me down and sent me on the wrong path then. So
that's really sad. Was that a PE teacher or?
No, it was a history teacher called Mr. Davis. So thanks.
Yeah, well done, Mr. Davis. No way, I remember him actually. Oh, that's awful, isn't it? Was he a tutor or something? Is that why you said it?
I mean, I probably wasn't in with the best crowd at school. And I think he just kind of, I don't know, maybe like to make an example of a few people sometimes. And I don't know, maybe we just had a disagreement. But
yeah, it's mad though, isn't it? How something so like kind of probably he doesn't even remember saying it. Something so simple can really put you off.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But it's interesting though, because I've talked to quite a few people now, and a lot of women have tended to like kind of decide later on in life. So they're about like 28, 29, like going into their 30s, and they've gone back to college then. So like, I mean, like, why do you think that is? Like, do you think it is because we're not kind of like told when we're like young that trade is an option, or what? Well, how do you feel about that?
My personal opinion is peer pressure. I think a lot of girls are pressured into following a path, you know, beauty, hairdressing, things like that, you know, it's not really, it's kind of frowned upon, you know, if you're a girl in a trade, the presumption is you're gay or something like that, you know. And I think it puts a lot of people off, and I think you just got to look past that in a way, and you know who you are in yourself. And I think as you grow up, you kind of realize what you want to do, and you know you go out there and get it, really. So I think it's going back on what you really want to do. And I think as you're older, there's less pressure from people. I think people are more accepting of stuff when you're a bit older. So
yeah, I think, do you reckon sometimes as well, it's a lot about our own heads? Like we think that people might think those things, but they might not even think that but it's teenage heads.
I should imagine it's even harder these days with social media. I mean, it wasn't big back when I was starting out my apprenticeship. I don't even know if Facebook was around, to be honest. But it's one of those, yeah, you get in your head what you think you should be doing, or what would please somebody else. But I think you've just got to do stuff for yourself, really.
So when you signed up to British Gas, were there many women that were kind of doing a similar role to you? Or
so there was, we trained in groups of 40. We were split into 4 groups of 10. And there was 3 women, myself, Sarah, I can't remember the other girl, but me and Sarah were on the technical engineers side, and the other girl was doing installation. So yeah, few and far between, and it still is now, to be honest, in the gas industry. So,
and why do you reckon that is?
Gas isn't really a talked about trade. It's obviously heat, is plumbing and heating. I guess it just feels when you're at school, the trades seem to be more aimed at the boys. I do think it's a little bit different now. I think they try to get the girls involved now. But back when I was younger, no, I wouldn't have even entertained it. I mean, in my head, I knew I was good with my hands, and you know, I was quite a practical person. Knew I didn't want to work in an office, so. But I guess I was just too scared to go out there and get it, really. So
what was the training like? What was the training like in general? And then also, how did people treat you? Obviously being 3 out of 40.
We was actually treated really well at British Gas. The tutors were really funny, got on with all the guys really well. I think because we were all adults, it was an adult apprenticeship. I think the oldest guy was in his mid-30s. I think the youngest one was like 18. So yeah, you had a few. It was just good, actually. We socialised well. We was put up in hotels, and yeah, we just had nights out together, and yeah, we all got on really well, actually. There was no prejudice at all. So.
And so what was the training like? Was it hard, or what type of thing did you do?
It was like a fast track apprenticeship. So I had 32 weeks in college, 20 weeks with an engineer, and I was basically kicked out on my own then.
Oh my God.
So it was split into 4 modules. I think by module 3 I was crying. It didn't make any sense to me. I was really struggling, and then module 4 it just all clicked into place, and you just think, what was I worrying about?
Do you reckon other people were doing the same as well?
Yeah, we all complained at the end of the course and just said it's far too quick to do an apprenticeship. I mean, we were safe in what we were doing. It was just we had no experience, and that was the thing. You was kind of kicked out on your own, and
yeah.
Sort of, although you were safe, you just felt like you didn't know what you was doing.
Yeah. And it's quite a scary kind of trade as well, because obviously I guess you could blow things up.
It takes a lot to blow something up with gas, but
right.
It's for me, the big problem was water. So if we were repairing someone's radiator, obviously the water that's coming out of that is pretty black, and it was just fear of making a mess. You know, British Gas customers tend to have a lot of white carpets. It's just, and with water, once you've made a mistake, that's it. There's either no stopping it until someone helps you, and it's because you're so new to it, it's knowing what to do if something goes wrong. So I joined with the guys who helped me after my apprenticeship were all old school. So they give me loads of really helpful tips. I wouldn't be where I am now really without those guys. The old school guys really know what they're doing.
No, that's cool. And do you reckon that's because they've had a bit more training, or it's just the fact that they've just been there for a while? And
I think all the old hat stuff is a lot different to how we do it these days. Times are changing so much. I mean, we don't solder where I am at my new company. It's all press fit. It's all special machines. There's no naked flames or anything. So yeah, it's come on leaps and bounds.
So when you were at British Gas, you were kind of thrown out into the big bad world. And like, how was that? What kind of jobs were you doing, and what was a regular day like for you? It
was pretty tough at British Gas. I think you knew you'd earned your money when you were there. It's a pretty full-on day. Obviously, a big company like British Gas, they expect you to be professional at all times. Courteous. You've got to be chatty as well. So you've got to be good with the customers as well as what you're doing. And obviously, when you're fresh out of an apprenticeship, it's quite hard to sort of pick up those skills. But I mean, it's, for my confidence, it's done loads for me. I'll go anywhere and do anything, ask anybody a question these days. Whereas when I was younger, I was shy. I didn't want to approach anyone. But yeah, general day-to-day work was anything really. Fixing a boiler, fixing the central heating system, general servicing, just anything really. Anything to do with the central heating system.
And so did they give you a van, and then were you like kind of on your own, or were you with someone else?
Yeah, so van and tools straight away. And you just get given a laptop, press a button, it sends you a job, off you go. Call the resident on the way, let them know you're on the way, how long you're going to be. As I say, it's quite a professional company. So
yeah, but it sounds like a great start though, because it is so professional and really well oiled, I guess.
It sets you up for in good stead for if you're going to move anywhere else. And it gives you a lot of experience. They've got a lot of information at the company, more information than you'll ever find on the internet. They've struck up special deals with manufacturers to have, they've got these pages on their laptops called hints and tips, and it's specific to every boiler. And I mean, there's thousands of boilers out there, and British Gas have got everything listed. It's all, you just search that boiler and you're away. The wealth of knowledge they've got is amazing, really.
So why did you leave, and where did you go after that?
As with anything, it all boils down to money. And we just had a disagreement, really. I'd worked quite hard for you earned an individual bonus at British Gas. It used to be group bonus, but you found that some people weren't pulling their weight, but they were reaping the reward. So they moved it to individual bonus, and you had 5 targets to hit, and British Gas controlled one of them. If you didn't hit their marker, you lost all your bonus. So I think there was 5 groups. It was like poor, good, average, and exceptional. So in 4 of the groups, I was exceptional. The one that British Gas controlled, you had to be above 73%. I was above that, and then the day they issued the figures, they dropped me down to 72%. So that was it for me. I just thought I don't want to play games anymore. I knew I was a good engineer. I knew my worth, really. Didn't mind dropping a wage, and just bit the bullet to leave, really. It was a really hard decision, but yeah, it's turned out for the better, really.
Yeah. And where are you now? Did you have like several jobs, or is it just the one job that you've had? Or
it was kind of spur of the moment, really. I think because I was so annoyed, I just looked for any central heating engineer job. One of my friends had said to me, if you can get on the council, do it, because they'll look after you. And managed to get on with an independent housing association in Gloucester called Gloucester City Homes, and went for my interview. And 2 hours after the interview, they rang me up offering me the job. So yeah, it was it was good. Yeah, I accepted it. Took a pay cut, but I think you've got to look after yourself really, rather than worrying about money. So.
And are you still there now, or have you moved on?
Yeah, still there now. So I've been there since 2018, so just over 3 years now. Did hit a bump in the road. There was 2 of us that went for a supervisor's role. Me being me, I felt like I should have got it. But there was only 2 of us that went for it, and we're quite good friends. And I mean, the best person won, and I was really gutted about it. I almost left over it, but we got over that, and still good mates. And yeah, it's just a good company to work for.
So what's your average day there? Like, is it different to British Gas, or?
Loads different to British Gas. We only look after combi boilers. We've got a few conventional boilers, which are like systems where they've still got the old cylinders and stuff. But yeah, we look after 3 types of combi boiler. There's no real job this hard where I am. Again, press a button, get a job, off you go. On my own all day still. But I got good team around me, and we're all good friends, all have a good laugh. So yeah, it's a really good company to work for.
Check out designandbuilduk.net and go to the Women in Construction Awards section. On there, you'll be able to nominate any wonderful women, men and companies for one of our upcoming awards for 2023. On there, there's also a section for Women in Construction and Infrastructure Hub, where we're creating a community of women across the construction and infrastructure sector who are going to be passing each other work and inspiring each other. Due to launch in October, so if you just fill out the whitelist details, we'll keep you updated.
Thanks for joining us on the BiGDUG podcast in partnership with Design and Build UK's Women in Construction Awards. We are currently speaking to Amy Beale, a gas engineer who began her working life as a coach driver and then retrained with British Gas as an adult. Be sure to follow us and her on our social medias. So it sounds like you're really happy then, like doing what you do. Are you really glad that you took up this job, basically? Like, are you happy that you work in, would you call it plumbing, or is it more gas?
So I'd say I was a central heating engineer. I don't know a lot about plumbing, to be honest. I'll change a few tap washers at work as a favour. I draw the line at toilets. But yeah, anything to do with central heating. But one thing I will say about Gloucester City Homes is they support women really well. They've got a programme to help women further themselves in the company. So like management, I'm not sure what they call them. They've just run one this year, actually. I didn't apply to enter it, but it just helps women progress through the company, move up the ladder. So yeah, they're really, they include everyone in our company. They're really good.
Reflecting on your kind of like your career, so how long have you been in central heating gas?
Just over 14 years now.
Wow. Yeah.
The longest I've ever kept a job. So there must be something I like about it, whether it's the banter or what, I don't know. But it's I enjoy it, and I don't think I'd give it up, to be honest.
Over that time, have you noticed like a difference at all, like in the way that women are treated, or has it been kind of pretty, it sounds like you've had a really positive experience throughout, really. Yeah.
I'm probably a bit different to most girls, to be honest. I've got a big mouth. I mean, when I joined British Gas, there was a guy called Rich Maskell, and we didn't get on at all. He didn't like me because he thought I couldn't take a joke. He thought I was a girl. I wouldn't get it. And I just thought he was old and miserable. And we ended up having to work together once. And it was for about 3 months because he had a bad back. So we had to work together. And he got told he could either work with me or this other guy. And I can remember him getting into my van, and he was like, I suppose I'm with the best of the worst. And I was like, oh, God. And you know what? We got on like a house on fire. And he sadly passed away. And I was really gutted. But, it just shows that sort of perception that, you know, people just get it wrong just because of what they think, you know, and I've always got on well with everyone I've worked with. So I think you've got to, obviously it is a male environment. You've got to take the rough with the smooth. There's always a line, and obviously you can tell people if you think they've overstepped it, but sometimes you just have to join in and have a good laugh with them, really.
And so what type of thing, like, what's the line then? So how do they push it? Is it they're just like their bants really and like taking the mick type thing, or?
The stuff I feel uncomfortable with is, you know, like the male chauvinistic kind of, you know, just being a bit over the top. Then sometimes it can be a bit cringy, but there's not a lot that I'll probably say things and shock them more than they shock me, but I'm not really sure what that line is sometimes until it's crossed and you sort of think, oh yeah, that was maybe a bit harsh. But yeah, it's I think it's something you not learn to put up with. I think if you're one that's, you know, likes to have a laugh and stuff, there's not really a lot that sort of puts you off, really. If you can't beat them, join them, and I'd probably beat them. So
and has there ever been any kind of like derogatory negativity towards you, like with like maybe colleagues? Obviously Richard, you've got over that, or like people that you have gone out to visit, so clients or anything?
Yeah, so I commit, well, still to this day, so I've been doing it for 14 years, and because I'm just not the type that people expect to walk through the door. You can see it like wrote on the, you know, like people have calendars on the fridge and stuff, and it says gas man penciled in and stuff like that. And they answer the door and they're like, oh, you're a woman. And, you know, the old bidders, they love it. They, you know, they're so proud and stuff. And yeah, most people are. I think, you know, I'm generally quite chatty. A lot of people say, oh, it's so nice to have somebody come here and not be grumpy. Do you know what I mean? And have a chat with stuff. And yeah, it's a bit of a negative for me was when I worked at British Gas and I was in my apprenticeship. One of the guys I was working with, I can remember he made me cry. And funnily enough, he's left British Gas and gone to work for Stroud Council. So we meet up at the same branch now. And we was talking about it the other day, and he said it still mortifies him to this day that he made me cry. But he was asking me what these wires do in a box, and I was trying to tell him, and he was saying that I was guessing. And, you know, I think he was just getting to me because I was thinking, I'm not guessing, I'm telling you, but you're telling me I'm guessing because I don't know what it was. But he was the type that was a bit anti-girl doing the job. I can remember him saying to a lady customer once, when your husband gets home, tell him I've done this, and she had a right go at him, and I was chuffed to bits. But no, he's, you know, me and him are really good mates now, and, you know, we got past that, and yeah, he's decent, and, you know, we just get on well now. So
yeah, it's just breaking down those barriers, really, isn't it? And
every day someone says to me, oh, I've never had a lady gas engineer before. And as I say, I'm 14 years in now, and it's literally every day still. So it's I don't think we'll break that barrier for a long time yet.
yeah, that is mad actually, isn't it? Like you would think in this day and age it would be a bit more common. And how many of you are there, like, are women in your actual where you work now?
So on property care, it's just me. At British Gas, it was just me. So yeah, it's but like office based, obviously there's loads of women, but yeah, just on property care in the trade, just me. Yeah.
And how many is that out of?
Loads. There's carpenters, plumbers, electricians. Yeah, you name it, they work there. But I'm the only girl.
It's mad, isn't it? Yeah. Well, and do you quite like that though? Do you get on with the boys? Do you think maybe more than like the girls? Because girls can be, I know it's awful, I probably shouldn't say this, but sometimes girls can get a bit catty and bitchy, can't they? Like,
yeah, I mean, as I say, I get on well with everyone really. I try not to sort of talk about anybody negatively or anything, but no, I get on with everybody generally, and I just like to go to work and have a laugh, to be honest.
And do you find that in trade, like that's what other people want as well? Like people are kind of like a bit more fun and a bit more, I guess, bantery.
I think it's expected in the trade, isn't it? It's you see like on Facebook the trades groups and stuff, and they're always, you know, having a laugh, doing something, taking the mick out the apprentice and and all that kind of. So I just find it really funny, to be honest. And then I don't know whether that's what keeps me here. It's you know, there's never much negativity. You know, it's just we get together, we have a laugh, and you know, if there was any negative part of the day, it's sort of soon forgotten, really. So
so if you had to sell your job to someone like kind of coming up from like maybe a school age and just making their GCSE options, what advice would you give them, and why would you sell your job?
Well, it stood me in good stead for my life, really. I've got a mortgage. I pay all my own bills. I'm a single parent to my daughter Fen. You know, it's such a good trade, and it's a trade for life. You know, they say natural gas isn't going to be around for much longer, but you know, they're expanding into so many different things, renewable energy and stuff like that. So you know, the trade is growing hugely, and you'll never be without work. You know, customers absolutely love a woman to walk through the door. I think they see it as such a different thing, and I think you've just got to own it, really. If that's what you want to do, go out there and do it. Don't worry about anybody else, what they might think. You know, it's a really good trade to be in, and you know, it's going to set you up for life, really.
I think like that's the thing. I think the more we speak to people, the more kind of like the girls realize that actually this job even exists. Like the more we can kind of break down those barriers and encourage girls to kind of think about this as an option.
Yeah, if you like to have a laugh and just get your hands dirty and just, I mean, it opens up a world outside of work as well. You know, helping out friends and family. You know, it's such a bigger, I mean, I've got my own gas ticket as well, so I can go out and do my own gas work, and it's you know, you just reap the rewards of everything, really. So it's a good trade.
Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for listening. So hopefully please join in for next week's guest, but for now, thank you so much, Amy. You've been a superstar.
No problem. Thank you.
It was so wonderful chatting to Amy Beale and catching up and hearing her story. Before we go, just a reminder that this pod is part of a series in partnership with Design and Build UK's Women in Construction Awards, as we celebrate some truly inspirational women in the trade. If you want to know who else we've been talking to, then follow and subscribe us on your podcast provider, and they'll be delivered straight to you. You can also follow us on our socials. But until next time, thanks for listening, and bye for now.